we looked at the three learning types. What happens in schools is formal learning, because everything is structured, it follows a pattern, you have classes, periods, you have a timetable, and so that is formal learning. Informal learning happens outside the classrooms. In schools, when you're on the playground, when you're playing during recess, before the morning assembly, or after school, when you're out with friends, informal learning is happening. Non-formal learning is happening when you're out in the marketplace, when you're out shopping, when you're doing daily chores. You learn in non-formal settings. What is important? All three are equally important. Children and even adults learn in all three ways. Whether you are a school student, a college student, a university student, or a student in a professional institution, you are learning in all three ways. Unfortunately, formal learning stops when you leave college, when you leave university, or when you leave a professional institution. Informal and non-formal learning continues through life. And as adults, we learn in these ways. Children, of course, have far more opportunities to learn in all three ways. How do you make a distinction between formal and informal? What happens in the class? What happens on the school ground? It's all within the school. The classroom is in the school. The grounds are in the school, but learning is different. On the ground, students learn cooperation, teamwork. They are playing with one another. They learn rules. At times, they make their own rules for games, and that's learning. In the classroom, everything is structured. It is very teacher-directed. It should be beginning to become more student-oriented, because that's what 21st century education is all about. It's not teacher-dominated classrooms, it is student-centered classrooms, where we focus more on the student and try to get information from the students that they are familiar with and then build on that. A lot of times, teachers waste time teaching what students already know. If the teacher questioned students, asked for some background information, the teacher would learn what students already know about the topic or content or concept, and then build from where the students have already learned. We will look at some different examples of learning types and what different researchers in the field of education have had to say. Eraut in 2000 said, formal and non-formal learning in the workplace, which means learning doesn't stop. Even when you get a job, you need to learn. You need to learn lots of things on the job that your schools, colleges, and universities did not teach you. Formal and informal. There are lots of organizations that send people for training. That's formal learning. There are lots of organizations that help you learn within the organization. That is non-formal learning. So Eraut believes that formal and non-formal learning in the workplace does happen. A lot of times we may not be aware. Why would my company spend money sending me to Europe on a 2-week training? There has to be something in it for them. EU is the European Union's definition in 2001, the framework of lifelong learning. Whether it happens formally, informally, or non-formally, what the European Union claims is lifelong learning is essential in the 21st century. Nobody knows everything. You did not learn everything. Your teachers did not teach you everything in school, college, and university, and therefore, learning must continue. Livingston, in 2001, said, formal, non-formal, and informal learning even happens for adults. We learn in families, in our group. Different families have a different culture, different ways of doing things, different traditions, different ways even in which we celebrate festivals and meet people who can come, how we interact with our elders, our cousins, and so on and so forth. So, Livingston claims beginning with the family, and even in adult life, formal, non-formal, and informal learning takes place.